What's up, guys? It's Jared here coming at you with yet another video. Today we're going to be doing a cannabinoid tier list, so let's get right into it.
What you're about to see is meant for educational and entertainment purposes only. I am not recommending or advising that you try any of the products I review.
Alright guys, so before we get into this, I'm going to keep this video relatively short. I know there's some cannabinoid tier list videos out there. Strange Central did one, and it was about a half hour long. So I'm going to keep this short. We're just going to hop right into this. I'm just going to go through some of my favorite cannabinoids, tell you a little bit about them, and I hope you guys enjoy this video. If you guys want to know anything more about these cannabinoids, go check my channel. I got pretty much a review on some of these cannabinoids. If either it's a vape, flower, whatever, I got a review on it. So yeah, definitely go check out my videos, and we'll just hop right into this, guys. All right, let's go. All right, guys, let's get right into this video. So we're gonna go over these tiers real quick. This is S tier right here. We got S tier. It is the superb tier. It is the best tier. Then we got A tier. It's not quite as good as S tier, but still an A. B tier, it's a little worse. It's not the best, but it's all right. C tier is average, average or C's. D tier, you're getting pretty bad. It's not the highest quality, not the favorite. E tier is even worse, and then F is a total fail. So now that you guys know the tiers, let's get right into this video, guys. So first off, we're gonna have to do HHCO. This is a relatively new cannabinoid, and I really enjoy it. I've had a couple vapes, couple cartridges of HHCO, and it was really tasty. It really reminded me of your average Delta 9 THC, so I'm gonna have to give this a B tier. It wasn't quite as good as you're the best, but it was pretty good. I really do like it, and it does have good flavor. So B tier for HHCO. All right, guys. So next up, we got one of my favorites. One you all should know. This is the classic CBD. If you guys don't know much about CBD, you should definitely learn more about it. It's one of my favorite cannabinoids by far. It's very medicinal. People use it all the time. It's very popular right now, so I can't say much bad things about CBD. I'm gonna have to give it an S tier. This is the first S tier we got here. CBD is just one of those cannabinoids. You can smoke it all day. You can eat it in your edibles, put it in your lotions. It's just so versatile, so useful, and just so great. So CBD is going to be an S tier. All right, guys, let's go on to our next one. All right, guys, so now let's talk about THCO. This is another one of those really unique cannabinoids, relatively new. THCO is pretty great. I like it just because when you hit it, it does not hurt your lungs. That's one of my favorite things about THCO. I've had a couple of vapes with it. I've had a couple of gummies with it too, and they were actually pretty powerful. They say THCO is like a borderline psychedelic. I think you would have to take a really high dose, but that's pretty cool that it has those properties. So I got to give it to THCO. It's one of the cooler cannabinoids. I'm definitely thinking about giving it an S tier, but I think I'm going to have to give it an A tier actually, because, right now we just produce it from hemp. It's an analog of hemp. And they actually made it illegal in a couple states recently, which kind of blows because THCO is awesome. I know this because in Colorado they just changed laws so you can't get THCO anymore. But it is what it is. I still appreciated it when I could have the chance to try it out. So yeah, THCO was pretty great. Got to give it up to THCO. It's going to be an A tier. All right, guys, so now we're going to talk about another very popular cannabinoid that is relatively new. We're going to be talking about Delta 8 THC. Wow, that's a really blurry picture. But anyway, Delta 8 THC is a very cool cannabinoid. Right now there's been a lot of new products coming out with Delta 8. I see Delta 8 flower, Delta 8 vapes. I see them at head shops. I see them all over. It's pretty common, but I don't really like it as much as some of these other cannabinoids. There's some issues with Delta 8. I feel like all these new carts and stuff that have come on the market with Delta 8, some of them are hit, some of them are miss. So Delta 8 is kind of iffy. It's really unregulated right now. There has been a couple states that have made it illegal. So I think I'm going to have to give Delta 8 a C tier. The high from a Delta 8 is not as good as some of these other cannabinoids, and it kind of gave me like this very strange feeling, very peculiar feeling. It's nothing like normal THC, so I'm gonna give Delta 8 a C tier. All right, guys. So next up, we have another analog of THC. This is really blurry still. It is going to be Delta 10 THC. Delta 10, I actually enjoy better than Delta 8. I've had a couple carts that have been Delta 10. For some reason, people like to mix Delta 8 with Delta 10 in their carts. So it's kind of, I don't know if this is the best judgment, but from what I've had a couple carts with Delta 10 and Delta 8, and just to add it on Delta 10 just made it feel like so much better. It was better high. I don't know, I enjoyed it a lot more than just smoking a Delta 8 cart. So I'm gonna have to give a Delta 10 B tier status. I say it's pretty great. It's also getting regulated pretty heavily in some states, so if you want to try some of these out, make sure you definitely look into your state regulations. But yeah, Delta 10 is going to be a B tier. Just got to give it that. Okay, let's go on. All right, guys. So next up, we're going to do another quite popular cannabinoid. We're going to be talking about CBN. So CBN is a really cool cannabinoid, I guess. It's not my favorite though, because CBN it's kind of like a degraded cannabinoid. When your weed gets left in the sun or it gets old, some of your cannabinoids will degrade into CBN. It doesn't really get you high. There is like some sleep benefits, I hear. I've tried a couple CBN edibles and I've smoked straight CBN, and I didn't feel sleepy, I didn't feel high, and overall it just wasn't my favorite experience. So for CBN, I'm gonna have to give it an F tier. I'm sorry, CBN. I just every time I've had it, I didn't enjoy it. It made me feel weird. It didn't feel high, but I just didn't feel good either. I kind of got sick, not to the point where I was like throwing up, but just overall, I just did not feel good after one time I smoked CBN. And then I've had some edibles with CBN in them, and I didn't feel anything from them. So yeah, I'm gonna have to give CBN an F tier, unfortunately. If you guys disagree, let me know in the comments, but that's just how I feel. All right, guys. So next up, we're gonna be talking about HHC. So very similar to HHCO. It's just I believe there's just an acetate on HHCO that makes it different. HHC is also quite similar to your very common average THC Delta 9. So very similar to HHCO, and it has a little bit more of a background. There's a little bit more research that has been done on HHC, which I do like. I do like to read those things. Overall, in my experience, though, I enjoyed HHCO a little bit more. So I'm just going to have to give HHC a C tier. It was average, it wasn't great. It wasn't bad, but, it's not something I'm super fond of. If I was gonna pick between HHC and HHCO, I'd probably go with HHCO. So HHC, we're giving it a C tier. Okay, guys. So now let's talk about one of my favorite cannabinoids of all time. Is gonna be THCP. So THCP is a really cool cannabinoid. It's relatively new, but it's one of the strongest cannabinoids out there. It is considered, I think it's 30 times more potent than THC, and I think it's also psychedelic. It's really cool. There's very few companies that make like pure THCP just because it's so strong. Most of them kind of dumb it down a little bit because it's so strong. Some of the THCP products I've had were not like a super high concentration, but when I did smoke it, I just felt good. Like I didn't have any anxiety. I wasn't paranoid, which, that is something that does happen with THC, especially in some people. It can really cause that. THCP was pretty mellow. I've smoked quite a bit of it too, and I just had a good high. It wasn't overwhelming, but it was still relatively strong. I felt very high, but I was still able to function well, and I didn't really have any stress, and it was actually really stress relieving. So I really enjoy THCP. I would say it's an S tier, but I'm gonna give it an A tier. It's still synthetically produced from hemp, so Yeah, but I do believe it's actually it's naturally occurring in the plant. It's just very rare and it's in pretty low amounts. So we're giving THCP a tier status. All right. All right, guys. So next up, we're going to be talking about CBC. CBC is actually a pretty cool cannabinoid. I haven't had much experience with CBC. I've done a lot of research about it though. It's not one of those cannabinoids that's going to get you high, but it does work very well with other cannabinoids. So that's pretty awesome. CBC also has like cancer fighting benefits, which, that's always great. Uh, and it actually acts on some different receptors in your brain. Most of the cannabinoids on this list react with your CB1 receptor, and that's the one that usually gets you high. This one has a couple of other receptors that it interacts with. So CBC is pretty cool, but it doesn't get you high. And so, from what I've seen a couple people that sell CBC. It's relatively expensive, and I'm just gonna have to give it a D tier just because of that. It doesn't really do much for people. Maybe in future medicine, CBC will be very useful. It's also a good anti-inflammatory. But as of now, it's not a cannabinoid I would go out of my way to purchase. So we're gonna give it a D tier status. All right, guys. So next up, we got a really cool cannabinoid. It's also one of my favorite cannabinoids. We got THCV. So THCV is really cool. You may have heard of it before. It is sometimes referred to as diet weed because it actually suppresses your appetite. So most weed, obviously gives you the munchies. THCV is going to be on the other end, and it's going to not give you the munchies. In fact, it might be good if you're trying to diet. So THCV is very cool. Only downfall about THCV is it's super expensive. It's so hard to get a good deal on some THCV, and I hate that. But other than that, it's just so good. It's one of the awesomest cannabinoids. It's found in a lot of strains. It's naturally occurring, and it's found in pretty high concentrations in some strains. It just kind of depends. So I got to give it to THCV. I would say it's an S tier, but it's just so pricey to get right now. So we're gonna give it A tier status. I do love it though. So there you go, THCV there. It doesn't get you high though. Keep that in mind, but it does suppress your appetite. But like I said, it's found in some strains, so they're obviously going to have your average THC or THC delta 9. In combination with this THCV, you're going to get some really good effects. So I got to give it to that. So A tier for THCV. All right, next up, a classic, the god of all cannabinoids, the one, the only THC. And I'm talking about normal THC, that delta 9, that good. You can't deny it. It's some of the best. So, this is probably obvious to some of you. I just got to give this S tier status because it is just superb. There's no denying it. THC is awesome. It's cancer fighting. There's been the most research done on THC. It's just overall like one of the best cannabinoids out there. It gets you high. It makes you feel good. It makes music great. It's just overall good. What else can I say about it? So obvious S tier. Some people say smoking weed gets me paranoid and blah 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 blah. But honestly, it's just relative. THC is just one of those awesome cannabinoids. I just got to give it to it. It's going S tier. I love it. You love it. We all know it. Anyway, obvious right there. Last up, we're gonna do CBG. So let's get right into it. All right, guys. So last but not least, we're gonna go over CBG. So CBG is a really cool cannabinoid. Obviously, it is one of those cannabinoids that you just got to appreciate it for what it is. So CBG is a precursor to pretty much any naturally occurring cannabinoid in the plant. So it is naturally occurring. It's in pretty low concentrations though. CBG is pretty cool. Some strains do have pretty high concentrations of CBG. I don't really like it as much as I would say I would like CBD or THC though, because it's just really harsh on the lungs. I've smoked straight CBG dab, and it really was harsh. They say it doesn't get you high. When I smoked straight CBG, I did have a kind of peculiar high. I'd say I wasn't like stoned, but I just felt kind of off. It wasn't my favorite, so I would have to give it a E tier. We got to fill up the space anyway. I feel like it'd be weird to have E tier and not use it, but I do think this is a pretty appropriate fit. CBG is pretty cool though. It is going to have a lot more. I think it's going to have a lot of medical benefits here in the future once we learn a little bit more about some of these cannabinoids. It's kind of up here with CBD or CBC. Actually, I'm gonna put it right here. I think I'm just gonna. It's a little lower than CBC just because CBG was so harsh when I smoked it and it made me feel kind of weird. So yeah, guys, there's my tier list. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Alright guys, there's my tier list. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you like this video, leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe. I always appreciate all the support. It means a lot to me. Like I said, I hope you enjoy. If you guys want to check out my other channel with their skateboards, we got cool merch over there. Got this hoodie. We're working on some merch for this channel too, so just keep in touch, guys. And anyway, I hope you guys have a kick-ass day. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.